On the phone with us is Mineral Wells, West Virginia driver Kenny Worth, the price of a missing Johnson. Kenny, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing just fine. How about you, Michael?
I'm doing pretty good. Kenny, let's talk about your 2014 season. You won the AMRA championship and the Hilltop champ. You also have 18 wins on a season. How has 2014 been for Kenny Johnson?
Actually, it's been an outstanding year. Unfortunately, we have had some mishaps this year. I've rolled the car two different times, two different cars actually, but I've rolled twice at Atomic. I've also had a total of 3 engine failures. So from that aspect, it's been a rough year. But all in all, with the number of feature wins we've got, the points series we won, not only the AMRA, not only Legendary Hilltop, but also the Gibby's Dirt Track Racing points championship for modifieds as well, with Weekly Electric being one of the sponsors to help fund that point series. It's just been one of those years we can't really complain. It's all part of racing. Whether it's good or bad, it happens, and you just got to keep plugging away and moving on.
Kenny, talking about the points, you are 36 points back from Fireball Pinkerton at Atomic. What's it going to take to add another championship?
All we can do is worry about ourselves. So of course, every race we try and go out there and win. But of course, we've done the math. We know what it takes. We have to win, and Fireball has to finish 9th to tie us, or worse, for us to win. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the tiebreaker would be the number of wins. But with that being said, we can't worry about what Fireball is going to do. We got to worry about us. We got to go after the win, and whatever happens, happens. Unfortunately for us, Fireball's a pretty consistent runner. He's always in the top 3 normally. So it's going to take, unfortunately, a bad night for him to lose the championship. But it's going to require a good night for us to win it as well. So, like I said, all we can do is worry about ourselves, and whatever plays out, plays out. But Fireball's had his ups and downs this year. We've had our ups and downs, so it's come down to the last race, and we'll see what happens from there.
You raced a late model this year. Have you ever thought about getting behind the wheel of a sprint car?
Actually, Greg Mitchell, who's a good friend of mine, and he actually got into late model racing by buying one of my cars back in '94. Greg has actually offered 2 different times for me to get behind the wheel of his car. For me, the unfortunate thing is it was actually get in and just go racing. I probably wouldn't mind getting in one out there and hot lap by myself just to make sure and feel it out. Because as most everybody knows, I like the high side, and I have a feeling if I take a sprint car on the high side, there's only the right rear tire to hit, and I'd do some damage there. So I'd probably like to try one out first. And I can't imagine there's a ton of speed there. The big old wing plants the car, provides traction. I should be an awesome feeling, but I've never really had the desire just to jump in it to go race it without trying it out first. So we'll leave it at that.
Kenny, I know you talked about the 2 flips at Atomic. I've seen the first one, but I've seen the second one on YouTube. Can you mind talking about the 2 flips?
The first flip was strictly driver error. I've made an error before there, and I've been able to save it, bring it back, and just barely missed the Uke tire and some things. But this particular time, the track had a little rough spot in it on the high side of 3, and I changed my line slightly to try and just enter above it. And as soon as I changed my line, I got the right rear off the racetrack. It was one of those things I was trying to save it, and I fought it to the very end, but the Uke tire got me that time, and it was a pretty good impact. Of course, as you saw the video, it rolled the car. It actually destroyed the chassis. Bruised and banged me up, but nothing that we couldn't survive, and we actually come back the next night and drove Mark Daly's car. The second wreck, I don't feel like as a driver I did anything that caused that error. What I do think is that I had a right rear tire going down. I told Cooper, the guy that helps me after the wreck, that on that parade lap going down the front chute when I was kind of weaving, it felt soft on the right rear. And of course we come down the back chute and that's where we fire and go. And when it entered 3, it's like it never fully planted, and then it caught a rut. And as soon as it caught that rut, then it started barrel rolling me up into the catch fence. So the first one, I'll take credit for. Unfortunately, it wasn't my car. It looked like my car, but it wasn't mine. It was Frankie Hall's. So I've got to, get him another chassis to replace the one I destroyed, and put all the parts on it, new body, and get that car back going again this winter. But the other car I rolled was mine, and knock on wood, we got off pretty easy because that's the car I'm racing now and have been winning with here again. We just had to replace a couple tubes in it, and it was good to go again. So second wreck, it looked worse, but for me driving and getting hurt, it didn't hurt as bad as the first one did. So now I guess Brad and his crew have got that wall extended on around there a little further, and it seems like everybody I talked to have kind of nicknamed that the Kenny Johnson wall or the wall Kenny built. Or there's been a lot of people hit that. It's just unfortunate I hit it or rolled it within about 3 or 4 weeks of one another, and it kind of brought it to light a little bit. But it happens. It's happened to other people other than just me too. So,
Kenny, they call you the prize worth of admission. How'd you get that nickname?
In 2008, I was driving a Hassey chassis modified over at Atomic for the Dirt Track Championship weekend. And in hot laps, again, it's funny you bring that up because in hot laps, I rolled the Hassey chassis in turn 3. The same spot, only not as bad. But in hot laps, I rolled it. And we get it back on 4 tires and wheels. They drag it to the pits. We look things over, and next thing I know, there's about 15 people standing around the car, and we're just thrashing on it. I mean, the whole body's tore off, the decking's tore off. We're drilling and pop ribbon, doing everything we can to get back up to qualify. We qualify fast enough to start the front row of the heat race. Actually, take the lead in the heat race, spin out. Of course, I'm over driving. I spin out, go to the tail of the heat, come back up through, and have to run, I believe I have to run the C main. And I win the C main, go to the tail of the B, come from the tail of the B main, up to take the lead in the consi, in the B main. So I come from the tail to take the lead in the B, and past Rick Auckland on the high side of turn 2, and when I was exiting turn 2, my right rear dropped off the racetrack, and I spun out. Then I had to go to the tail again, work my way back up to 7th in that consi, and there was a big wreck that happened in front of me, and I tried to get through the wreck, and I ended up climbing the turn 3 wall, got up into the catch fence, and come back down, and basically kept going. And needless to say, I didn't make the show, but ironically, I should have been in the show 3 different times, and my overdriving took me out of it. So from all the mishaps that I had, evidently it was fun for the fans, and some diehard race fans that we picked up over the years, named Tom and Pam Lemon and their sons Trey and Lane. We was walking the next day, looking at all the cars. Of course, I'm in my street clothes, not racing, and I think one of the boys made the comment, worth the price of admission, because everybody was talking about how I drove that night. I guess because I drove like an idiot. So they made the comment, worth the price of admission. So they kind of recommended I put that on back of the spoiler, and I did, and it just kind of stuck. It's something that a title they put on me. I do appreciate the thought. Not sure that I'm worth the price of admission. Ironically, Saturday night was $5 night at Atomic, and one of the fans who I don't know walked up to me and said, "Hey, it's worth the price of admission. Is that on a high-paying night or a cheap night?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I hope I'm worth the price anytime." So, but some people's had some good fun with it, and I appreciate the Lemons for thinking of that and putting that title on me.
Kenny, I know you've been in racing over 30 years. What's your favorite thing about racing?
Oh, favorite thing. It's a legal drug, essentially is what it is to me. But I enjoy the garage as much as I enjoy the driving piece of it. I enjoy my time in the garage, but I also enjoy the fellowship and the family that racing has created for me. There's a lot of drivers out there that has kind of became family to me, and that's what really makes it fun. We all can't be. We've all been mad at one another at one point in time, but over time, at some point in time, you all come back together, and you never want to see anybody get hurt. You never want to see anybody have bad luck, that kind of thing. Racing's a family affair, and that's one of the things that I like about it.
Kenny, the last question I got for you is, I know it takes a lot of sponsors' money. Who you got to think?
Well, I got to thank Schilling Trust, Jeff Schilling. Jeff is a brother of Greg Schilling, one of the former racers who died of cancer in 2008, and we currently have a Greg Schilling Memorial race. I also need to thank his brother Joe Schilling with JS Enterprise. Joe's another one of my sponsors that helps me out the past several years. Steve Balderson Construction. He's been he does concrete work, and he's been with us for numerous years now. K Graphics, Keith Emmerich of K Graphics. He does all of our decal work. Sheet Metal Local 33 out of Parkersburg, West Virginia. They're another sponsor we picked up 3 years ago. CoglinCars.com, the Chillicothe store, but Coglin Cars also has 9 other stores around the Circleville, Columbus area. Also, Zimba Brothers Construction out of Zanesville, Ohio. Scott Zimba's a good friend of mine, and I used to race against Scott quite a bit. He's been with me now for several years. Let's see here. Hall's Automotive, Hall's Auto Repair. Frankie Hall, we picked him up as a sponsor this past year, and as I mentioned earlier, his car is the one I destroyed, and I've got to fix it. But currently, Frankie's motor is in my car right now, and that's what we're running. Racer's Edge Supplement, Steve Leist out of Chillicothe area. You can go to racersedgesupplement.com and pick up your vitamins and such. Octane Race Products, Poske's Performance Parts, Hypercoil, Basil Race Fuels. Let me make sure I'm not missing. OVDTR, Kyle Jones with OVDTR. He's done a lot of videoing over the past several years, and I've been fortunate enough to be videoed quite a bit, and that helps a bunch watching those videos. Let's see, Carr Auto Glass, Jeremy Carr. His son runs a mini wedge, and Jeremy's over near Athens, Ohio, and it won't be long. Zach Carr will be in a modified, I'd say, but Jeremy Carr is one of our sponsors. Hoosier Race Tire, and I also want to thank Phantom Race Gear. Phantom Race Gear did our T-shirts this past year, and I want to thank them. And I also need to thank Shaw Race Cars, Kevin Shaw out in Batesville, Arkansas. That's the kind of chassis we run, Billy Lloyd Race Engines. And got to give a shout out to Jenny Cook. She did her website this year, so anybody listening, get on www.kjmotorsports.net. Check out our new website that just got published here a couple weeks ago, and give us a shout on the guest book page. And other than that, appreciate all the help. I got to thank Tim Cooper. He's been with me now since 2003. He's one of the crew guys. Chad Nelson and Danny Sweet. Danny's been on board all year this year, and he's a diehard crew guy. There any night we need him, and he's there every weekend. So without those guys helping, it makes it tough. But it all comes together, and it's been a good season.
Kenny, I thank you for your time this evening, and I'll see you Saturday night at Atomic, and be rooting you on to win the championship.
Hey, I appreciate it, Michael, and stop by and see us.
Will do.
Thanks again.